It'll always be about more than basketball.
So, More Than a Game podcast, we have our regular here, the A-Train Andre Moore.
What's up? How y'all doing? And our esteemed guest here.
And we've got a special guest mainly from Melbourne Tiger fame, Warrick Giddey, or Wazza. Here's a little sound drop. Giddy up. So,
okay. Welcome, Wazza. How you doing, man?
Yeah, great to be here, Drake. Thanks, Tim, for having me on, and excited to tell you a few stories and a few tales of the past.
Oh yeah, much as all ours.
No, as where we like to start, we like to pay, I guess, tribute to the original owners of the land, wherever you are. So Melbourne, Brisbane, in Queenstown here in New Zealand. So I guess we want to pay respects to the original owners of the land.
That's right. Yeah, most definitely.
Okay. So yeah, welcome along, Warrick. I guess it's the first time me and Andre have been trying to get other guests on the podcast. I decided to reach out to you. I really appreciate you responding to that, and thank you very much for I guess what you'll tell us, on the podcast today. So thank you very much for that. I guess we'd probably like to start, Warrick. Just growing up, whereabouts did you grow up? And tell us what first got you into basketball.
Yeah.
I grew up in a small coastal town called Coldcliff. It's about 30 minutes south of Sydney and about sort of 20 to 30 minutes north of Wollongong. So right where the sea cliffs are. And, I grew up there till I was about 12. So I grew up on the ocean, surfing every day, down the beach by myself with my brothers, that real ocean environment. And I was always taller than the other kids and grew up playing rugby league, a bit like AFL for the Victorian kids. And, was into most sports, and the family moved into Wollongong, into central Wollongong, and I lived about 100 metres from North Wollongong Beach, and then got introduced to basketball when I was in sixth class by a teacher that loved the game, and naturally, because I was taller than everyone else, he picked me, and being a natural sportsman, I sort of took to it pretty quickly, and sort of things moved from there, going to high school and sort of getting into better teams.
Yeah, the tallest in your class. Were you automatically thrown in the center position back then? They put you in the post straight away?
Well, look, I really didn't know anything about positions, Dre. It's in sixth class, our basketball court just had netball rings, so it really wasn't a basketball court. It was an outdoor court. We're talking, maybe 75, 76 here, and there was a couple of basketballs. The teacher taught us to dribble. There was no backboard to do layups on. Footwork was very ordinary. And I was lucky. I tried out for the South Coast team and was lucky enough to get selected in that just through pure athleticism and the fact that I was playing so many sports. But unfortunately, I was dropped out of that side because the best kid in the team was coming back through after an appendix operation. So that was the introduction to rep. I was lucky. I moved to Wollongong, made the under 12 or under 14 Illawarra Hawks junior team, and again I was the worst player in probably the best side in the state. So my involvement was great. My learning was rapid, and the worst team, I was the worst player on the best team, and I couldn't have asked for a better inception into the game.
Of course, yeah.
I guess the question, so growth spurts when you're sort of growing up, did you sort of have a growth spurt pretty early or a late bloomer?
Yeah, look, I was no freak at a young age. I was sort of middle of the range, taller than my mates, and the tallest kid in class. But there was much taller kids, obviously, when you go to basketball stadiums. And probably at about 15, the same as Josh. That 15, maybe 14 to 16 year age group. Late puberty. Sort of watching all the kids bigger than me. Then suddenly I'm growing way faster and bigger than those in sort of future years. So. I was always excited to get to a tall height and be able to continue with the basketball. And obviously, the taller you are makes it a little bit easier.
Great stuff, yeah.
Yeah, so I guess when did the Illawarra Hawks, that was your obviously first team in the NBL at age 20, I think, or around about 19, 20. How did you sort of obviously work your way up to get into that sort of position, and how did it sort of start out your NBL career?
Yeah, look, I was in year 11 and 12. I was playing for the Illawarra Youth League and the under-18s, and also training with the Hawks. And I went away with the schoolboys rugby side at the end of year 12. And when I came back from that, I went to the Institute of Sport for basketball at Canberra. So that was 86, and I went down there, did a year there. The real the focus was to play in the under-21 Australian junior team in 1987. So at the end of '86, I came back to Wollongong, played 2 years with the Illawarra Hawks there under Dave Lindstrom.
Oh, Lindstrom, yeah.
Yeah, Dave Lindstrom, and it was funny because my first year back with the Hawks, we went undefeated at home that year. There was only 2 teams, Brisbane and us. We were both 2 undefeated.
Okay, yeah. Leaping Leroy playing in? Leaping Leroy?
Yes, I can't remember. That would have been in '87.
87. Yeah, Leaping would have been there. Yeah. They won in 87. They won in 85,
Yes.
87, the Bullets, yeah.
Yeah, so the '87 and Brisbane came to our home court for game 1 of the 3-game semi-final series, and that was our first loss of the year. We went to Brisbane and reciprocated, and Gordy McLeod came on the buzzer to send it into the 3rd game, which we ultimately lost. And yeah, I think you guys went on and won the championship. But yeah, so 2 years there, didn't see eye to eye with Dave Lindstrom. Unfortunately, sort of had to pull out of the contract, and was fortunate enough that the Melbourne Tigers took me on a tour in '88 after I'd finished with the Illawarra Hawks. And Lindsay said, yeah, we'll have you, we'll take you. And yeah, the rest is history. I just fell into place into such a great environment and a great system, and just found my role.
So Andrew's dad, Lindsay, was he the guy that sort of, I guess, really pulled you into Melbourne and said, you know, this is going to be a good fit for our team and that sort of thing?
Yeah, look, they didn't really know a lot about me. Gary Gaspard, who was our import at the time in Wollongong, was also cut, and he headed to Melbourne, and he sort of let Lindsay know that there was a young kid there that, you know, that they should have a look at. And Lindsay invited me down for a week of training, and after that invited me to come on the American tour. And unfortunately, that was the year Andrew wasn't there because he was at Seton Hall. But had a great time on the tour, had a lot of fun, and you know, obviously played well enough for Lindsay to say, join us next year. And you know, I came down and really on a whim. You know, I didn't know anything about Melbourne. I was a real Wollongong homeboy. You know, never lived more than 100 meters.
Wollongong is a beautiful place to live at.
Absolutely beautiful, and I grew up never living more than 100 meters from the ocean. So to take a country surfy boy to the big city, I was really ignorant. Had no idea about Melbourne. Didn't know that it was on the coast, that it had a bay there.
Kind of like Green Acres, man, like the Green Acres situation.
Absolutely, learned a lot about Melbourne and fell in love with the place. So you know, it's been home for longer than anywhere else in my life.
Great. Tim, we better tell our viewers introduce who this gentleman's son is.
Yeah, we'll certainly we're going to get to that. But
they might recognize the surname there.
Yeah,
make some noise over in Oklahoma. But yeah, let's get into that, man, because people want to hear about that.
Yeah, no, definitely people want to hear about that. So obviously, Josh Giddey was in the 2021 NBA draft. Went number 6 to the Oklahoma City Thunder, and obviously Warrick's his very proud father. So obviously a very proud moment, obviously when he got drafted, and obviously I think he got NBL Rookie of the Year, didn't he, as well?
Yeah.
So very, very good start to his professional basketball career. So we might come back to that a little bit. I wanted to sort of focus on Wazza, I guess, a little bit.
Everybody knows about Wazza over here, man. We want to hear about the boy too, man. No,
So obviously playing in Melbourne, a very winning culture under Lindsay Gaze, and obviously a 2-time NBL champion, 1993, 1997. Tell us about. I mean, you played with lots of great teammates in Melbourne. Who are your favorite teammates to play with?
The top 5 favorite teammates. Give us the top 5.
Look, there was plenty. Five's going to do some fellas injustice, but
I know that's what I'm trying to do, man. Get it juicy.
Obviously, Andrew and Leonard.
Andrew, who's that? Who's Andrew, man?
And Leonard and Dave Simmons. Dave and Andrew were the first 2 original I played with. Dave came in as an import. He came to Melbourne at the same time. Leonard came in a couple of years later. I think 93 when we won the championship, 92 when we lost it. Obviously Andrew was still. Mark Bradkey would, he came in 93 when we took the championship. I was great friends with Mark in the junior years. So they're probably my 4 favourite teammates. And then there's a lot of other blokes: Ray Gordon, Brett Jeffries, Marcus Tillman,
Yeah, took one of our guys, Robert Sibley, who was my guy. He came and played with you guys, man.
And Sibley was my roommate for 2 years.
Great guy, man. Robert Sibley.
I got a soft spot for Sibs. Love the man.
We both do.
Absolutely, and he's got to be in my top 5.
I spoke to him a couple of days ago. Yeah, I'll tell him, say what's up. I keep in touch with him all the time. He's doing really well.
Yeah,
fighting this battle and all that. So he's a great guy.
Yeah, I was fortunate enough to catch up with him in Brisbane a couple of months ago.
Great.
So you've been in contact with Robin. He's a war horse and he's a fighter.
That's right, man. Yeah.
So I guess what's the best way to describe your sort of game that what are some of the attributes, because you obviously had your own special set of skills when it comes to a basketball game that you were I guess seen like the glue in some instances.
That's what we described it.
But tell us a bit about how you sort of view yourself, your NBL career, what you wanted to sort of leave as a legacy and that sort of thing, because obviously they retired your jersey for a reason as well.
Yeah, I think at an early age I was realistic enough to say I was probably never going to be a champion at the game, in a sense, an individual great of the game. I wasn't a great shooter. I wasn't the world's best athlete, and I equate, and I tell a lot of kids, I was a bit like the labourer on the building site, and people might think that's not important, but the labourers are vitally important.
Very important.
Everyone wants to be the architect. Everyone wants to be the main builder. It'd be great to be that, and I equate that to being the 3-point shooter or the dunker or this or that. But I was cleaning up the mess. The building site can't operate unless the labourer's cleaning up. He's getting the bricks, and he's doing the mortar, and he's doing all the mix and keeping things running. So in a game, a lot of people didn't want to dive on the loose ball. They didn't want to do the hard things. Everyone wants to be the pretty boy, do the nice things.
Shane Frawley, my old
absolutely.
Team, that type of guy.
Another one of my boys that I was at the Institute and played Australian juniors.
Okay, I know that. Yeah.
So there's always a role, and I tell kids in every walk of life, there's a role for the shit kicker in a sense, and no one wants to be that guy. And fortunately, I made a career out of it, as a lot of people do in life. And
well done.
Did the things maybe other people didn't want to do. And Lindsay always was funny. He said some people get their jollies off on shooting threes, and some do this. And I got my jollies off playing great defense.
Jollies.
And trying to be a nightmare for opposing players. So,
you were a nightmare, my friend. I remember you getting under my skin a few times, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Did it fair, and I wasn't a cheap shotter. I thought I'd play the game hard and tough, and as I said, was a good teammate to.
Can we take one moment to pay a tribute to another one of your teammates, probably Dave Colbert, who also played with the Bullets a year. He passed away years ago. May he rest in peace. Great guy, great shooter, wonderful person.
Yeah. Just watched some footage of him the other night. It was actually a famous game where Ballarat Miners beat us in the 1989 VJPL finals, and watched Colby there. And God love him. He was a great fella, and had the pleasure of playing 3 good years before he went up to you guys and played at Brisbane there.
Yeah. You guys got Sibley, we got Colbert.
Yeah, that's it. Good shot on the time.
Both great guys.
Yes, yeah.
That's good. No, that's so basically most of the time you're playing probably the small forward, power forward position. Just sort of that's I guess what you're mainly playing, wasn't it?
Yeah, definitely small forward, power forward. Off guard in a sense. I wouldn't say the shooting guard. It was an off guard role where he helped Andrew and Ray Gordon and coach bring the ball down and really get the offense set up. So I was in what's called the feeder spot. So primary role, get the ball to the shooters. Andrew and I had a bit of a connection, and it was great. I sort of knew what he was doing, and he knew what I was doing.
Everybody knew you guys' offense, but we never could stop.
We
knew your offense. You guys ran that offense forever.
Well, I had so many wrinkles in it, and we had so many things, and they were read and reacts, which I think a lot of
react.
We were probably unique for the day of being able to run things, and really the coach left us into read and reacts in those situations. We were able to do pretty well.
Yeah, so obviously a great coach to have, for so many years. Lindsay Gaze, obviously very close with those guys still, I imagine, and then obviously you still had a bit to involve with basketball since retirement. You had something a bit to do with the Melbourne United.
Yeah. When the club changed, I mean, once I finished playing, I stayed in the coaching role, and as you said, Lindsay was an absolute legend of a coach, a real players coach.
Yeah.
Didn't have too many restrictions outside of basketball. Was like a fatherly figure without being domineering or dominating your life. So kept him. Was fortunate enough to coach with Lindsay and our Westover for a couple of years, and then when Lindsay retired, became our Westover's right hand man, and we had probably a good 8-9 years there before we went to 4 straight grand finals, and it wasn't enough for the club, and they sacked Al and me from the coaching roles, and it was just one of those things, the progression of life. You become a coach, and then you become a sack coach. So and then just stayed on involved with the club, doing the development role, which I'd been doing as a player when I retired, and then continued to do that for another 10 years.
So you mentioned you had obviously a lot of great teammates. Who was the hardest, most difficult opponent for you to play against, or that you had the most trouble with?
Dave Simmons, definitely.
Hey, man, come on.
Yeah, Dave. For as far as teammates, Dave was clearly the most toughest opponent. He gave you nothing, and he wanted nothing in return. So
who was that?
Dave Simmons, I think you're talking about.
Oh, Simmons, yeah.
But as far as opposition, James Crawford was a nightmare.
Oh my goodness. Alabama
nightmare. Any big, strong bloke that was athletic and it didn't take much to jump over.
The chairman of the boards in Adelaide.
Mark Davis, another nightmare. So those physical, strong blokes, I used to love to wrestle them, but they had way too much athleticism for my unathletic body, and that was always a challenge. So I had to work out other ways to beat them.
Yeah, fair enough. Yes, that's I guess a good coverage of your NBL career. Obviously, thanks for sharing all of that. That's fantastic information, man. Some good stuff there. I guess moving on to the NBA and stuff like that. Prior to what happened in the last 12 months, did you have a favourite NBA team before that?
I probably always loved to follow the Australians. Brett Brown was another bloke that came to the Melbourne Tigers in 1989 with Dave and myself. So, I followed Ben and obviously Brett Brown going back there to coach him. I'd love the Philly team. But now I wouldn't say I had a favourite team ever. I've always been a follower of the Aussies over there in the NBA. Luke being a good friend of mine, you followed him closely with the Bulls. But obviously I'm an OKC man now.
Yes.
I was growing up in Chicago. I grew up in Chicago, but I was a Philly fan because of Dr. J back in the day.
Yeah, Dr. J, one of my heroes as well.
Yeah. So I'm an OKC guy now too.
There you go. Good man. Good man.
In LA, I'm still a LeBron guy too. I ain't gonna lie.
I've ordered that too.
They beat him twice.
Yeah, they're OKC's bunnies, I think, LA at the moment.
Yeah.
And, but it could be a different story when LeBron steps on court.
That's true.
Yeah, I'm waiting for my OKC number 3 jersey to arrive in the mail at the moment. It's still coming, but
You probably got a lot of orders too.
Yeah, I'm sure they're getting a few orders in Australia anyway.
Yeah.
I think So that's So now, obviously, tell us a bit about how did Josh first get into basketball? Obviously, he grew up in a basketball family, and obviously, you said he had a growth spurt at a similar sort of age. When did he first sort of get into basketball?
Oh, look at it. He had no say in it. He got dragged around, and Dre knows
that. The environment, huh?
Kids in that environment, sons of coaches and players, they've got no say in it. They're around elite professional athletes. They're seeing what it takes to be a professional athlete. They're getting taught the right skills at a young age if they've got the right coaches. And I remember when he was 5 or 6, I said, I'm going to teach him at an early age. I'm not going to let some kid do it for the fun of it. I'm going to get him the right sort of technique, the right footwork and the right skills at an early age and let him understand the game. And I started with a bunch of kids who we were called the Wembley Wazzas at Wembley Primary School. Well, we had to have a nickname started with W, and most of the names had gone. So they decided Wazzas was it, and we took those kids, and they all came from parents that were good athletes, and all the kids had great hand-eye coordination, and I was able to take that prep class through to year 6 and become state champions, sort of 6 years later. So. I love the fact that I was able to get Josh at an early age and mould him into what I wanted him to be in a sense, and the way I'd like to see him play and act on a sporting field.
When he developed that, like as a parent, you don't want to try to push your kids into can instill that passion to them. Do you have that passion at an early age for the game?
Absolutely. And sometimes if you just got those skills, so, he played cricket, we put him in tennis lessons, he did everything with hand-eye coordination. So, once they're able to get the skills, I think they enjoy the game. So if the kid's getting hit on the head with a basketball and he's dropping it out of bounds, he's probably not going to enjoy that sport. So the fact that with all the kids had this great hand-eye coordination, they had skills, the game became a lot more fun for them. And, those kids were having fun. They were whooping teams each week. We had them in a full court press. They weren't structured offensively, but they were just learning the game, the spacing of it. And you watch the kids and you watch the game evolve. And as I said, you teach them the skills, the game will evolve for them till they get to a level such as under 12 rep, where you're teaching them real high level, structured offense, defensive presses, and and all sorts of intricacies of the game. So having the skills at an early age enabled me to be able to teach them how to play and how to implement different things.
And the mental side, what about the mental side of things as well too? And sportsmanship, because I know they were blowing a lot of kids out back in the day. You got to teach them, to be humble, sportsmanship, all that type of stuff too, right?
Lindsay and Andrew were the greatest. Lindsay always said, do not belittle the opposition. So if you're beating them by 50, don't belittle them and run on and carry on. And I was very, very strict on that with the kids. I said, there's no running around when you block a kid and making fun of him. I said, we can enjoy the moment. We always play hard. We play to win. But please do not belittle the opposition. We don't want people coming out shitty at us, wanting to fight us because we're embarrassing them. So have the respect of the opposition and the respect of the game. And I think that's one of the greatest lessons that Lindsay Gaze has taught me.
First time I ever heard of that mercy rule over here in Australia, when you beat a team really bad. You say, let them bring the ball up. In America, we talk about stepping on your neck, stepping on, just squash you like a. It's
extremely hard. So we had that rule a lot of times, and tell 8, 9, 10-year-olds that they're not allowed to touch the ball till it comes over a certain line. So they were back to the 3-point line, 5, like rabid dogs just waiting. And as soon as that ball come over, they were all over it. And it went back on. So, kids are kids, and sometimes it's hard to tell them to back off.
That's right. You don't want to take that killer instinct away from them either. That's the thing about it. That's the fine line. You don't want to take that killer instinct from them,
Yeah, you still want to make it fun. And as I said, you want the opposition to be able to enjoy it, especially at a domestic level. Now, a rep level, it becomes, you're playing a little bit more for sheep stations come the rep station. But you still want to be
Tim would know about the sheep station being in New Zealand right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was just going to mention to Warrick, Andres obviously does a lot of training with children developing their skills in his program, the Big Feet program. Have you heard of?
It's happening right now.
Yeah, I've seen that program, and it's great. And there's so many ex-imports. Rashad Tucker's in Adelaide, just running heaps of stuff.
Oh, great! Oh, Rashad.
Rashad Copeland's doing all of his things. So they'll threat down here. There's numerous ex-players that are just putting so much back into the game, which is great to see. And that's why we've got so many talented juniors.
Sorry, man. Yeah, we just embracing the people that embraced us when we came to this country, this beautiful country. Just giving back. No matter what. Kids are kids. We're gonna just try to give back to the game that we love. And help the kids. To coming up. So that's what it's all about. Yeah.
Absolutely. And they're getting taught from champions and from the right people and the right way. So it's really encouraging to see.
I guess going a little bit back to Josh, what sort of age do you think he was when you said, well, my son here has got a really good chance in the, a really good chance of being drafted in the lottery, in the NBA draft? When did it sort of, I guess, you get a realization?
Yeah, probably not to the last year. I mean, you go through, you see kids that can play, and Josh always had a great IQ. And you look at kids and say they've all got the potential to go to the highest level. Now, obviously, there's a lot of factors that help. Obviously, growing to 6'8" and a half is going to be a big thing. Being able to handle a basketball, having that IQ. So, as I said before, a lot of the things that I taught Josh was the game, the skills of the game. I taught him footwork and things. They're going to go out and want to do that. He's got to practice his shooting. So probably by the time he got into the 18s with the state team and really dominated the Australian championships. And it was funny because Ian Stacker was trying to sign him up on a beer coaster at about 3 o'clock in the morning at Townsville
A
Casino.
beer coaster.
And he said, we'll make this one of these famous signatures. I know this guy's going to go. So Stacks and I think I was with Simon Mitchell at the time, and those two wanted to recruit him as the next star for the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix.
Oh, wow. Okay.
You know, at that time, Stacks saw big things, and you know, that was probably the real time where I thought, you know, maybe this kid has a chance to make the NBA.
Yeah.
Obviously, first steps first, and let's get into the NBL and try and establish itself there and have a good year and sort of see what happens. But
He was enjoying watching the NBL too, yeah.
yeah, once he got out of the juniors and went to the NBA Global Academy, Marty Clark down there, Adam Kapoor, what they did with him was phenomenal, giving him the chance to tour overseas, play other world-class junior international teams, and just get a sense of where he fitted on the playing scale worldwide. And, you know, to get an MVP in that junior tournament, I think that really said to Josh, hey, you're an elite junior in the world here. So the next level is obviously, you know, maybe getting to the NBA. So it become a realistic dream for him, and you know, probably only ever dreamed before that.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, you must have been pretty nervous on draft day. I think, were you in the States at the time when that happened? Or?
Yeah, look,
I saw you at Draft Central there.
yeah, absolutely. We
Yeah,
weren't, you know, we really thought that he might have made the Olympic team, and you know, that had a silver lining. As much as he was disappointed not to get selected for the Olympic team, we were able then to go over there and attend the draft. So. You know, it's sort of like those sliding doors moments, and we're so grateful for the opportunity to be at that draft. It's a once in a lifetime opportunity, and it was something that we really hadn't considered too much beforehand, but so grateful to have gone there and have done that. Nerve-wracking night. You never know where they're going to get taken. And you have meetings before, and the NBA people say, don't get nervous and don't be disappointed if your kid goes number 20 if you think he's going to go number 1.
Or 31, like I went.
Every kid's going to be an NBA player. They said the bottom line is your kid is going to be playing NBA. So you're there to support him, and you know, we were just amazed when he came out at number 6, and you know, we couldn't have been happy with the selection from OKC.
Was it pretty quiet from them, or did you have any sort of inkling that he could go could go to Oklahoma number 6?
Yeah, there was a bit of an inkling. They'd worked him out as well as Golden State, but you know, the draft, they can promise the world, and you know,
they can change their mind.
They might have been impressed with someone that they thought was going to get taken higher that suddenly doesn't get taken, that's available. So it's really a guess game. There was definitely no promises from anyone.
Right.
You know, we were hoping that OKC or Golden State might take him if they weren't going to take him with their first pick, maybe their second pick. So, you know, as I said, we were hoping for top 10. To get number 6 where he went was just an amazing surprise, and you know, we were just so grateful for them to take him there.
Back in '87 when I was drafted, I actually was playing in a pro league on the East Coast back then. 1987. That was the year when Scottie Pippen's going off the mic. Pippen, what's going on, man? You're going off the mic, man. If you watch this, but
yes.
But I'm sitting next to Mark Jackson, who's a great analyst right now. You know, and,
Yes.
the two of us, and the 18th pick comes up, and I think I got a chance maybe to go to New York, which we ended up calling Mark's name, right next to me.
Yeah.
You like to say the nervous, that it's nerve-wracking, you're sitting there, you're not, the commissioners call your name out, or you're waiting for your name to be called out, And I remember, Mark, the New York Knicks picking him at number 18, and I'm like, yeah, congratulations, Mark, gave him a little dap and all that, but I wanted to get put him in a headlock. Like, that
should have been me.
I wanted to play with Pat, man. I wanted to play with Big Pat.
Yes, yeah. And where did you end up going that year?
Denver Nuggets. The Nuggets picked me up at 31st pick. It's their first pick. They didn't have a first round pick.
Oh, wow.
I was their first pick in the second round, which was back before they had 30 teams. There was only 28 teams then.
Yes, yeah.
So I was right out of that first round, So, but just like you said, just to make it though, is make it to that mountaintop is a pleasure.
Yeah,
it's a blessing, It's a blessing.
And definitely nerve-wracking wait for that announcement of your name. You listen to every call and you're saying, please be this one.
I'll tell you this, the hair, man. I'm wearing a hat now today because I'm having a bad hair day. Your boy, Josh, seems like he never had a bad hair day, has he?
Yeah, but when he was young and you could control the haircuts, you could, okay, barber number 2s for him or number 3s. And you had control, mate. When he got to about 12 or 13, it was like, don't touch my hair.
You have the beautiful set of hair.
And I said, I've got my headband. If he wants my headband, he can have it. I've got that in the cupboard somewhere. But I keep saying, mate, if I see him flick that hair out of his eyes one more time, I'm going to lose my mind.
I heard they called him the fourth Jonas brother over there.
And I've heard of, I think it's Chamelet.
Chevrolet, who's this?
Chamelet. They're comparing him to Chamelet.
Oh, I'm not big on that. Who's this Chevrolet?
Yeah, someone showed me the other day. I'm not really too
Gotta
sure.
Google this guy. Yeah, what'd you think? You have a look at him on Google?
Oh, yeah. He looked very similar, but I didn't know who he was.
Oh, okay, yeah. I'm sure he'll have a great following, the female following over there as well. Does he have a young lady?
I'm really not sure what he's doing with his love life over there, but I'll find out a bit more when I get over there.
Yeah, I mean, he has a little girlfriend here. He didn't have a girlfriend here.
No, I don't think he did. He might. I think he was friendly with a lot of girls, and he's got a lot of mates.
Okay,
there,
we'll leave it at that. Okay, we'll leave it at that.
It's one of those things where the young kids don't want to tell mum and dad too much. And
I got 8 of them. I know. I got 8 kids. I know all about it. I got 8 of them going over here.
That's it. And you're guessing half the time of what they're doing.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I guess his best attribute is definitely, or not. He's got lots of great attributes, but the one that stands out when it comes to the draft class is probably the best passer in the draft. His assist number is obviously really, really good. So he's always going to have a good assist to turnover ratio. And I think, how did he sort of develop the eye? I mean, not many people have that sort of vision, but obviously the great ones do.
Something can be taught, yeah.
Yeah, well, again, it's probably through our structure. He watched all the DVDs, from our late 80s to all the 90s Melbourne Tigers games. So he watched the structure. I ran that same structure with my junior teams from under 12s right through the same with the girls. So you got a lot of read and react. So we teach them. We put them in passing roles. We teach them how to pass the ball, why you can get the ball to a cutter. How you cut off the ball, how you make reads. I think today's basketball is all one-on-one. I'll have my go. I can't beat the man.
Keep going with that. Keep going.
So we get them. And there were so many read and reacts, and we teach the kids. So, and another thing with Josh, even at a young age, I would say if it comes to a 2-on-1, you make the right decision. You pass the ball to your teammates that's free. Now, if your teammate can't pass it, he can't catch it or shoot it. That's not your responsibility. Your responsibility is make the right decision. When you get at a higher level, that kid will be able to catch the ball. He'll be able to make the basket. So it's coming to making the right decision. You're not always going to get the right result out of that right decision. But what you will find is when it gets to a higher level, that right decision's still there. The result is better.
Very good point.
I said maybe if it comes to the game winner, and the kid can't catch it, and maybe that's the one you got to hog and
you get it down low to the big fella. That's when it comes out of game winner.
That's it. So I always had a pass first mentality to the person who's in the best available position. So he loved getting his teammates involved. He'd get a rebound at junior level and throw it to a kid that was open so he could get a shot. So he was very team orientated. And I, another thing, I didn't want parents to be saying, "Oh, look at the coach's son, he's a hog." Look at the coach lets him do everything. So very, very conscientious about me being a coach. The coach's son was generally the best player, and I didn't want the perception to say he's a hog and the coach lets him do everything. So very, very strict on him passing and sharing with his teammates from an early age.
That all sort of reads into what we're seeing there, when we're watching these NBA games with him involved. I mean, that's just great. You always see at least 3 highlight passes where boom, and it's a great assist.
Beautiful passing, yeah.
And then the other thing too, which is probably maybe it's molded a little bit on your game, but his rebounding is very, very. He's leading OKC. He's leading OKC in rebounding. Did you know that?
I didn't
know that. Yeah.
And it pulls at the heartstrings. I boxed out and did everything I could in my power. Yeah. And I watch the kids. He doesn't box out. He turns around. They're falling into his arms. but really, he's a 6'8". He's always been a great rebounder. He gets after it. He gets on those loose ones. He really goes and finds rebounds. While the other people are boxing out, he'll go clean it up. And I've been wrapped with him doing that. It's one of the surprise packages that maybe people didn't know was in his arsenal. Last year I think he was the 6th leading rebound in the NBL, which was really never mentioned. For point guard, it was 18 years of age.
I sort of predicted that he'd probably lead Oklahoma in rebounds, and that's what's happening at the moment. So
yeah, and getting the amount of court time he is obviously going to be helping him out.
How many minutes is he
He's playing
What do
probably
you have
30,
this wise?
probably 30 to 32. I mean, if Derek Favors played,
That's good, great numbers, man.
Yeah,
if Favors played those minutes, he'd be probably getting 10 to 12 rebounds a game easily.
yeah, so it's 29 minutes a game he's getting at the moment. So he's very, very good.
Yeah.
So he back in the day, he and well, he's a bit younger than Ben Simmons. I was actually about the Ben Simmons saga. What's your thoughts on that? But they would have been a Tigers game at the same time back then. So,
Well, no. Ben played for a few different clubs. He was probably he wasn't the same era as Josh. He sort of went through. So Josh remember seeing him a little bit playing a little bit, but then I think Ben left in about year 11 to go.
I miss as youngsters watching you guys play. As kids, they would have been at your games.
Especially when Josh played the 18s and we brought him back from the NBA Global, or when he was bottom age. A lot of kids from the Tigers and other clubs would hang around our courts to watch him put on a show. So there was quite a bit of buzz, the classic finals and any of the finals of the tournaments that we were in. A lot of people sort of come to get a glimpse of him. I remember Kevin Gorgon brought Brian along to show him and say, listen, he's one of the best juniors we've got going around. So it was always exciting to have those people there watching him.
Yeah. So your thoughts on the Ben Simmons?
Yeah. Do you have a take on Ben Simmons? I mean, the guy that was the rookie of the year, 2-time All-Star, and now this is where we're at.
Very sad, man.
Oh, he's a legend, and obviously being good mates with Dave. I just feel for the family and feel for Ben. It's an unfortunate situation. And as Dave always said, it's a business. The NBA is a business. The players are a commodity, and they're going to get what they can for you. They want you to help them win basketball games. They want you to help them make money for their clubs. And I just feel for Ben. He's just a young kid that's a superstar that just wants to be playing. And unfortunately, he's the pawn in this business transaction. And Philly really just got to get rid of him. Take your loss, take your profit, whatever it is. But I think it should be about Ben and just letting him play somewhere and just getting this trade done.
What about his jump shot situation? I think he got a nice jump shot. You see him shooting,
Yeah.
As a junior, did he shoot the jump shot much as a junior?
No, not really. And I probably see similarities with my game. When you're a junior and you're probably explosive, and you can get to the ball to the ring. There's really not a lot of need to shoot the jump shot these days. And so Ben could just take people and dunk on it. So it was probably in an area similar to myself where we didn't really work at. And then you can get caught out later in life when you get to the highest level, obviously only being the NBL where I was at, and people start working out your game. But I feel for him that everyone's getting into him about his shooting because he does so many other great things. And
exactly,
it's like the great shooters. We never bag them about their defense. No one, when Steph Curry scores 40, we don't say, who defended him? But we don't say the defender, that bloke can't defend anyone. So it's always we're looking for everyone must be a shooter, and we continually and constantly tell kids, don't base your game on your scoring. Kids come off, think I haven't scored, I was no good. What about the 20 rebounds you had, the 5 block shots, the great assist? There's more to the game than shooting. And unfortunately, everyone's harping on the shooting part.
The Curry effect. The Curry effect.
Absolutely. It's going to make him the ultimate player, but hey, not everyone can be perfect in every area. And Ben is just an ultimate defensive player. He's a gun with the ball. He's a great passer. He's a great finisher. Unfortunately, they want him to be perfect, and not everyone's perfect in this world.
Yeah, so that's the Ben saga, and hopefully it does get resolved. I mean, as you said, they just need to make just cooler heads have got to prevail. They need to make a trade and keep moving on. I think
just let the kid play.
Yeah, and then we've got another saga which we wanted to just get your opinion on is the Kyrie Irving saga.
I forgot about that one. Yeah.
Still no word on it.
Are you vaccinated?
Yeah, look, I'm double vaccinated, and I would say now I understand, and I totally understand the people that don't want to get vaccinated, and it's a right to choice thing. And unfortunately, it's like a law of wearing a seatbelt. We used to get away with cars, not when I was alive, but you'd have to wear a seatbelt. Then they realised, hey, it's probably safe to wear a seatbelt, and maybe you didn't have to wear that seatbelt, but there was going to be repercussions. You would get fined for not doing it. So you'd also get injured if something happens. So it's a bit like that. People, it's up to them if they don't want to, but there's going to be consequences for them for not doing it, such as Kyrie's, not being allowed to play. So they've got to make their own judgments at their own call. I'm not going to be critical of him for making that call not to get vaccinated. He's the one that's got to suffer the consequences of not being able to play. So as far as I'm concerned, in a sense, each to their own. Hopefully we're getting on top of the disease. Hopefully we're learning more about it, and we're going to be better for the next outbreak, whether that's in 10, 20, 50 or 100 years.
I'm just selfishly disappointed in Kyrie because he's not allowing me to see his beautiful game. I like watching him play. I can't. I'm being denied.
You're being selfish. Selfishly, we're missing out on his great talent.
I know exactly, man. I want to see the boy play, man.
So do I.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
what else? Have you got anything else that you wanted to chat to Warrick about, Andre?
Oh yeah. Well, give me top 5 all NBL players all time. Your top 5.
Top 5 NBL.
Top 5.
Well, look, Andrew, number one, undoubtedly.
Okay, you keep going.
You got to throw Leroy in there.
Leroy, your boy, Leroy.
Yeah, I watched him as a kid. When I was 10, 11, 12. I remember getting caught in the lifts as a 12-year-old at Newcastle when I went up with a mate. Back up from Wollongong, the quarter now till we were in year 7. We went to Newcastle. We were in a lift. I think there was Leroy Loggins. There might have been Mark Davis in there. We were just in awe as 12-year-old kids. So love watching him play as a junior. There was, Benny Lewis. I was at Wollongong when he first came out.
Top 5 for you, Benny Lewis?
First year was amazing. Him and Mike Jones. I've got to have a bias there, but maybe not top 5. There were so many great players. Al Green. There's blokes I'm going to forget.
Dean Green.
Come out. Copeland was amazing. Dave Simmons, Dave Colbert, they're all 30 a game for their first 3 years. Yourself, Gray, you dominated the league for a few years. It was
Rucker.
There were so many great reports and players that
I know, man. I won't put you on the line.
I really would need a good week, and I could make the top 5 and then have names I completely forgot, which I would say, geez, they would be close to that top 5. So.
I'm biased to Leroy is number 1 all time because not just because he was a teammate, but he played both ends of the court very well. Both sides of the ball, man.
Absolutely. Well, I'll give you 3: Leroy, Andrew, and Brady. There's 3 definites of the top 5.
Got 3 for you. Yeah.
The other 2.
James is in my top 5 too. This great blow, great flag. He's in my top 5 as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We can't argue that one.
No way.
Yeah.
Lots of great players. I mean, there's a lot of good guards as well, like the Ricky Graces and the McDonalds.
Yeah. D-Mac, Ricky. That's the list goes on. Steve Woodbury, Darnell Mee.
Man, this list goes on and on. Man. Great players. Rest in peace, Big Storm and Norman.
Yeah,
Storm and Norman Taylor. Rest in peace to him as well.
Absolutely, legend.
Big fella. And the coaches, man. Curly, Gaze.
Bruce
Palmer. Great coaches out here, man.
Yeah, and that's a good thing. I think it's generational, and there wasn't a lot of those guys, and they did it. The Palmers, the Gorgians, our Westovers, Lindsay's. They sort of banded together, the Curleys, and they got it done. And what they've provided now is there's just a dearth of coaches out there. All the players that used to
Trevor
play.
Gleason, those type of guys come along because of these guys.
Like yourself and me. We're back in, and there's tenfold of what they had, and the kids now have just got so many coaches to pick from, so many great coaches that are teaching them the skills of the game, and that's why Australian basketball is in such a healthy position right now.
Would you like me, read it? Perth, we have to say, even though we're both those franchises, we can't stand them, but Perth Wildcat, you got to take your hat off to Perth Wildcat for running such a beautiful program, a wonderful program, successful program, so consistent with it,
Amazing.
You gotta give them love.
Amazing. Hate the bastards, but you just got to take your hat off to them, Dre, because to sell out, they got the best stadium. What they do have though is a monopoly on the state, and what's going to slow them down is when we put a second team in Perth. Let's see how they react to that one.
That's right. Yeah, let's do that.
They won't have that monopoly, and it's a bit like most of those states. Adelaide has one team, one state. Perth, one team, one state. Right. Queensland now has competition. Sydney has a little bit of competition in Victoria. So I think they have a distinct advantage, the fact that everyone goes for them and there's no competition.
Yeah.
And similar to the Aussie rules where West Coast dominated and we played it out by being 3-0. Adelaide dominated, and they brought in Port Adelaide. So I think a lot of those teams, once they get a neighbour, it won't be as big a dominance.
You're AFL tragic as well? AFL tragic?
I love the game. Yeah, absolutely love the game. And
Who's your team? Who's your team? Growing up?
follow the Hawthorn.
Hawthorn, yeah.
Very big, the Hawthorn.
Yeah. I had a son play for the Lions, Archie. Shout out to Archie, yeah.
Yes, I have read about that, and he's still playing now.
No, he just actually retired. He's retired
Okay.
at the tender age of 26. He's back playing social basketball now too.
Okay.
Yeah,
Which is what his brother's heart was. Yeah.
Okay, I guess we're talking about the best NBL players. Who would you say your top 5 NBA players are of all time?
Oh, that's a difficult one. You got to put Dr. J and Larry Bird and Magic Johnson right there. Michael and probably LeBron and Kobe. There's 6 boy off the cuff. Yeah, Steph Curry.
That's off the top of your head, yeah.
Yeah, Steph Curry joins that in another year, if not, KD. And then there's the blokes, like Wilt Chamberlain and the pioneers of the game that I never actually got to see. So, again, a really speculative one, but, I could name 10 players and you could argue any of those could be number 1 or 5.
I got LeBron, I got Magic, I got Kareem in the middle, I got Jordan the one guard, and of course I got to go Tim Duncan at the power.
There you go.
So you might argue that.
Yeah,
that's the best 2 blokes I hadn't mentioned. In 2
no, much people haven't mentioned yet.
Yeah.
So if you look at the sort of younger players in the NBA at the moment, I mean, there's a lot of impressive guys coming through. I mean, who are some of the most impressive for you? I mean, obviously LaMelo Ball came out of the NBL and he's tearing it up. I mean, who are some of the guys that are impressing you?
There's so many good young kids, and you look at some of them and thinking they're seasoned pros, and they've only been there 1 or 2 years. Jay Morant,
John Morant. I was about to say Jay Morant. Yeah, Morant.
In his 3rd year.
Shea Gilgeous, Alexander, Luke Dort in the OKC. A lot of these draft guys, Cade Cunningham.
Kid in Minnesota. Kid in Minnesota, the high flying kid. What's his name? Number 1 pick a couple years ago.
The name eludes me, but there's just so many good young kids, and they've done a really good job of opening up the world. Luka, they still were unsure on whether Luka was going to be dominant. And, they're looking at all different body types, so it's not the pure athlete now. They're looking at the non-athletic bloke like Luka or Josh. They're saying, well, what do they do different? Why are they successful? So I think the horizons have really broadened from what the NBA is looking at. And you're seeing so many good young kids that have got talent in such different, unique areas and ways of the game.
Yeah, all rookie team this year after the season finished. Oh, if the season finished now, what would be the all rookie team right now?
Well, that's contentious. And it's a long time. And I said to Josh the other day, I said, don't feel bad about playing a bad game. I said, there's 82 games. You can't be good in each of them. But, you got to think Cade's going to be there, Jalen Green, Jalen Suggs, Josh has a chance. But there's a lot of guys that got taken after the top 10, down to 30 that are doing a great job. JR.
Toronto. Barnes in Toronto.
Scotty Barnes, he went number 5. He's having a hell of a year. JRE, Jeremiah Robertson Earl in Oklahoma.
Forget that he's a rookie. He's just come straight in there, hasn't he?
Yeah, well, he got taken, I think, at 32, so no guarantee.
He's
and then
getting about 4 starts.
Yes, he signed a 4-year deal with him early on in the piece. And I love his game, just a smart, just play. He's 6'9", undersized centre. Very, very intelligent player, and Josh loves playing with him.
Yeah, no, definitely. So
Wiseman gets back with Golden State. He'll be making some noise too.
Yeah, it's gonna be a great year to watch all the rookies. I mean, it's hard to know that. I had a look at the odds the other day, and there's about 4 players that all had equal odds of winning. So it's Cade equal with Mobley, equal with Barnes, equal. It might have been Jalen Green, maybe. I don't think Green's up with the other 3 at the moment, but his game is about scoring really, and
I was aware of our fantasy team. The fantasy team.
Yeah, so I was going to ask, do you may have done, but fantasy basketball? Do you sort of do any of those fantasy basketball?
Nah, look, I find I haven't got the time. I tried last year with the NBL one, and I just felt so far behind and sort of missed games. And
your missus was getting on your case, huh? Your missus was getting on your case about chores around the house and all that.
Oh man, I've got blokes in my team that have been out for the last 2 weeks injured. So you always bloody hopeless on that. And I had Josh in there and just made him captain. So that was really. I wasn't in it really to win it, but no, I'm not a real big fantasy player. But I do watch the stats closely, and I watch the genuine stats, and I'm always keen.
I've been a commissioner. I guess you call it a commissioner of one league for probably about 25 years now. It's been going for that long, but now I've sort of added pretty involved in a couple more leagues this year, and one with me and Andre as co-GMs. And this was a dynasty. It was a dynasty draft we did in August. I think it was August. Yeah, dynasty draft we did in August, and we got to about in the pick 90. I think it was around that pick 90, and there was someone still available in the draft available. So we decided we'd take Josh Giddey. So he's in our dynasty team.
Good move.
I made a call on that one too.
It was a team's 16 teams in that particular league, so I think it was about the 6th or 7th round. And so this is before we played any, obviously only just been drafted by Oklahoma at the time, so you don't know if what's going to happen. So we just felt that we took it was the right sort of pick, and we wouldn't. Obviously that's going to look like a good pick many years from now.
How's he doing with the points wise in fantasy?
He's doing actually well. His categories, he's actually doing pretty well, obviously in rebounds and assists. This is a 9-category one, so rebounds and assists, obviously dominating those categories. Steals, I think he's above average as well. Obviously, he's going to turn the ball over. That everyone does. Everyone turns the ball over. I think his field goal, like a lot of rookies have got bad field goal percentage anyway. That's just Scotty Barnes is about the only one, or Mobley. They're the only guys that are shooting. Everyone else is below 36% or something. So we expect the whole projection is that a lot of the rookies aren't going to shoot that well. So that'll come over in time. Free throw percentage that'll obviously get better as well. So once you get more volume, as I said, you got another 60 odd games to go this year anyway. So they're just going to improve. And as what we see is the rookies get better as the year goes on in a lot of cases. You just have to see that.
All right. I think the sound's going out here.
I've still got
you? Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, gotcha. Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, Anthony Edwards, you've got to see what he did in the second half of last year to know that the rookies can sort of take over. We expect them, a lot of those guys, to do that. That's for sure. So, no, I think it was a good pick, and definitely it's going to be fun watching his career. He's only less than 20 games into his NBA career, so
how old is he? How old is he now?
Just turned 19.
He's 19.
Maybe he still got Similac. He still smells Similac on him, huh?
Well, that's it. Well, he has about 100 days to beat LaMelo's record of the youngest in the league for triple.
Oh, right.
So so he's got a few games up his sleeve to have a crack at that. But
hang on, so LaMelo, let me just get that right. What you said, LaMelo's got the record for the youngest triple-double, did you say?
Yeah, I think LaMelo was 19 and 137 days, and Josh is about 19 and say 37 days.
He's getting there. He's had like 3 double-doubles, I think, or something like that.
He's got close on a couple of times, but you almost need the perfect game, everything to go right, your players to be hitting shots, balls to be bouncing your way for the rebounds, and the ball dropping offensively.
How often do you guys talk?
Pretty regularly. He's like any son, mate. Hard to catch and answer on the phone. A lot of texters. A lot of cut off after one ring, but I spoke to him about 4 days ago, and he's just loving it. Yeah, so everything, he couldn't be happier. The team loves his teammates, the coaching staff, all the people around there. They've given him a fantastic opportunity playing wise. So and allowing him to make mistakes on the run. So there's
how's mom going? Missing a baby.
Yeah, good. She's got a couple more with her anyway. She's got a couple of younger ones, and Josh's oldest, Mr. Hannah, is just 90 minutes up the road at University.
But tell us, is Hannah she's into basketball as well?
Yeah, she's at Oral Roberts University. She's in her.
We played against them. They were on conference. Oral Roberts, beautiful campus,
Yeah, so that's really good. She can just drive down to see Josh play anytime, and he can get up there and watch her play.
Great, man, it's great. Right there in Tulsa, Oklahoma, there.
Wow, there you go. There you go. I mean, that's fascinating as well. I didn't know that. Yeah. That's. I guess anything else that you've got on your list there, Andre?
We've covered quite a bit, man. I really appreciate you guys coming on the show, man. It was
hey, anytime, man. been great to chat and talk
Yeah.
about some old times.
Definitely, man.
Any sort of, I guess, any tips for the NBL this year? Who's going to win the NBL championship?
It's going to be an exciting
Tough.
NBL season. Yeah.
I think the Illawarra Hawks are going to be a big
They're going
chance.
to be tough, man. Yeah.
The Melbourne United, it's such an even league this year. I think all teams have done such a great job. of
Our guys are
getting-
looking pretty good too up here. The Bullets put together,
Well,
pretty good.
they've underachieved the Bullets the last few years. I think it's time for them to step up. I think they've got a great list.
Yeah.
It's bad. I don't know that there was a good move losing Big Hodgie.
Yeah, Hodge was a big loss. Yeah, Patterson. I think Patterson stayed behind, working his fitness and all that, this year. So he stayed. He didn't go back home. He went to stayed in Brisbane this year.
Now, no disrespect to you, Dre, but Lamar needs to be slimmer than you, and you are in good shape.
Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate
Lamar
that.
needs to be slimmer than you to have a chance for them to win the championship. And I'm
After this Achilles heel, I might go try back out with the team, man. Get back in there, man. Shit. I appreciate that, man. But you're right, man. You got to stay with. You got to keep yourself. That brings it. That's the same problem we are. Pelicans.
yes, Zion.
Lions.
Yeah, we're going to mention Zion, weren't we? So what's going on with Zion? Has anyone heard?
Yeah, you got to lose that weight, man.
Yeah, he's going to have some knee issues with that frame, and they're going to have to work hard on his body, I think, because especially for longevity. But what a hell of a player!
Hell of a player, man. He'll be fine.
Yeah,
Let's hope so.
Let's hope so. Let's hope he can. I mean, Charles Barkley had weight issues before.
It was the same,
Yeah, he had weight issues. Yeah, Charles Barkley had weight issues. He couldn't wait to eat. He never could wait to eat.
and he still can't wait to eat.
Man, it's been a pleasure, man. Really
Likewise, guys.
taking the time out with us, man.
Well, that's been another episode of More Than a Game podcast with our special guest today, Wazza Giddey, based in Melbourne at the moment, and obviously proud son of Josh Giddey, and obviously he's still got other family blood that plays basketball as well. So going to be a great superstar. We're going to look forward to watching him. So make sure everyone jumps on I'm jumping on the OKC bandwagon a bit. So so thank you very much, Warrick. Any final words?
No, it's always great to be recognised, and because these days I'm just Josh's dad.
No worries.
Okay. There's nothing wrong with that.
That's it. Thanks, fellas. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you,
we'll get this uploaded or share a link so you can share it around to who you
had
want.
a Nigel Purchase for me too. Big Nigel Purchase if you're running him.
Yeah, he's a good man. Nigel.
Great man. Yeah.
That's it.
All right.
Okay.
All right, fellas.
Thanks, guys. Cheers.
Thanks, man. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.